Welcome to the Antisocial Podcast. My name is Andy, and welcome to all the new listeners, especially listeners from the Captain Cook Tavern in Kippering, Redcliffe, the Serena Russo building in Brisbane CBD, the Formula One Hotel in King's Cross, and any old school mobster fans or any users from the Oldsprog forums that are tuning in for the first time. Welcome. Yeah. Hope you enjoy this podcast.
Were you working on that the whole flight?
I wrote it on the plane. I'm like, oh, what other places have you gone to? Welcome back for anyone that's been listening. Each week I've tried something different. I've just decided to record this intro on the fly without doing it later. So there you go, a bit of improv. But this week's guest is the Raphael behind Toehider, graphic artist, Andrew Saltmash.
Do you know, as an artist, I couldn't tell you one thing that Raphael did.
Well, no, you know what? Well, this is another thing I did on the plane, because I was like, right. He's the Michelangelo behind Toehider. I thought, was Michelangelo a painter? And so I had to go on Google, and no, it was a sculpture. Or maybe he was a painter as well. But it popped up as sculpture, or sculpturer, anyway. Yeah. And I thought, oh, I can't say that. And then I thought, well, what was Leonardo da Vinci?
He was a painter as well.
Was he? Well, he came up as a mathematician. Right. And then I wasn't going to go, and I'm just going through the Ninja Turtles.
I think they were all painters, but they did other things.
Right, because just the main thing on Google, it just gives a one-word description of who they are.
Right.
And then I wasn't going to put Donatello, because I thought, no, that's just stupid. So I went to Raphael first, and then it said painter. I thought, oh, Matt, okay, I'll use that.
Well, I think, I'm coming on your podcast as an artist, and I'm just going to show how much of a fucking massive, like a massive ignorant art critic fan I am. So Michelangelo did David, the sculpture, the famous sculpture.
Yeah, that's right.
But he also painted the Sistine Chapel. Right. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Everyone can at me on Twitter and tell me I was wrong if they want. But yeah, and then Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa.
Okay.
But he also invented a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So he was like, his books are crazy. They've got like drawings of helicopters and shit in them from back when he was around.
Very cultured. At least, well, you know a little bit more than me, but...
Yeah, but that's about it. I thought about... A while ago, I thought about starting a podcast that was called like The Ignorant Artist.
Okay.
And just trying to like...
Just ask questions?
Just try and research an artist that like is really famous, but I have no idea about. And just be like, fuck, I didn't know this.
But it's probably a case with a lot of those artists where everyone knows the name and everyone just assumes that everybody else knows who that person is and what they've done. And so no one talks about it or no one asks a question because everyone would feel silly. It's like they feel that they would be the only one that doesn't know. But probably like the majority of people out there, well, this is what I'm saying to myself now. Yeah. But maybe the majority of people out there don't actually know the finer details and probably just go, oh, yeah, they're like artists or, you know, the Ninja Turtles or...
Because when you said Raphael, I was like, he's going for a Ninja Turtles thing. I'm sure he is. But yeah.
Oh, there we go. Well, I thought that was a good intro.
That was good.
A good little segue in.
Yeah.
So thanks for letting me stop by. We're in Melbourne.
Of course.
Cold night. What's happening in the world of Salty from an artist's point of view? You'll just show me a job that you're working on. It's a bit of a last minute wonder.
Last minute wonder all the time. Everything I do, I seem to leave to the last minute. What am I working on at the moment? I'm working on some new Toehider stuff.
Yep.
We've got a pretty exciting thing coming up, but I'm probably not allowed to talk about it. I'm working on Trollhorgen's new album cover.
Oh yeah?
Do you want to see a sneak peek of it?
Yes, please.
Without like telling anyone what it is?
Yeah, sure.
I've gone a bit crazy on the rendering on this.
I like how they're going in a different direction.
Right? Those guys are like, Salty, we've got this idea. And they just spout some nonsense at me.
Well, actually, it's not even a new direction. It's a new direction art-wise, but that links into what they do on stage these days, like in the last couple of years, like just their whole stage look. So that, wow. Next level.
Yeah. They'll message me and go, we've got this idea for a T-shirt. It's a bright pink skull wearing sunglasses with like a rainbow going into it, a light beam going into it, and like a prism of light exploding out of the other side of the skull. And I'm like, okay. And like in 2 days later, we've got this design that's just gone fucking completely insane. And they're like, yeah, that's perfect. I'm like, who would ever think of this?
Somebody in that band has been going off on other astral planes. I think it's that the band has certainly progressed over the years in a weird direction, but they're doing well.
I like weird.
Yeah, it's cool.
The older I get, the older I get, the less seriously I like my music to take itself.
Yeah.
There was this point in around, I don't know, 2007. It's probably when Mike started doing Toehider stuff.
Yeah.
And we started working together really heavily on that. I was just like, because I was always way into prog, like Dream Theater, all those bands. And I still love them, but I just got to this point where I was like, I can't listen to much of this anymore because it's taking itself so seriously.
Yeah.
I just come to a point where I was like, if the music I'm listening to can't be not taking the piss out of itself, but fun.
Yeah.
Has to be fun, or I'm just like, oh. And there's people who are in bands who like, fucking no, I probably can't say that. I was about to trash a band who would know exactly who they were if they listened. But there are bands. Cuddle that.
But look, there's probably a lot of bands that take themselves way too seriously.
Who are doing great, and like that works for them, and they're popular as shit, and they're doing awesome things. But I put it on, and I'm just like, this doesn't engage me at all. Yeah. It's so like.
I think a big thing that I'm seeing at the moment as well, probably more so with a lot of the more serious bands, is I could be way off on this, but it seems like they're trying to catch up on the bands that are doing really well from a novelty point of view. So there's a lot of bands out there that have got some sort of little novelty or some sort of appearance image thing, something that's really quirky.
Yeah. And
that's sort of not flavor of the month, but it's getting picked up because it's very visual and people are getting into it. And I think a lot of the serious bands are sort of going, well, we don't really have an identity anymore because in comparison to these bands that are so visual and really hyped up over, it's not even about the music. It's just this exterior that's being promoted. A lot of these other bands feel like they're in the shadows. So I think I've seen a lot of bands that are sort of pushing themselves out to be more vibrant on the exterior.
Yeah.
But the music's not backing it up whatsoever.
Yeah.
But just it's almost like shadowing these other bands that are just doing really well.
Yeah, some people have taken an idea, made it their thing, and gone, this is great, and everyone loves it. And then other bands are like, it's clearly just a gimmick.
Yeah. They're trying.
The substance still isn't there. Yeah.
That's
You know what? To completely go against all the music that you and I listen to.
Yeah.
You know who I really, really fucking respect a lot?
Yeah.
Is T-Pain.
T-Pain? I don't even know who T-Pain is.
T-Pain's the guy who basically took the auto-tune vocal thing and was like, I'm not just going to cheat and make this so it fixes my voice. Yeah. It's going to be my thing.
Oh, right, okay.
So all of his songs are just fully like... all of his singing and rapping shit is all auto-tuned to the point where like it was being...
It's obvious that it's auto-tuned, but that's his thing.
That was his thing. Yeah, cool. And it become known as like the T-Pain effect and things like that. And Kanye West apparently hired him as a consultant on one of his albums because he wanted to do this auto-tune thing on it.
How funny.
And it's like, I listen to T-Pain's stuff and I go, yeah, you fucking really did just make that your thing. Yeah. And it's great. And when he guests like features on other bands, on other rappers or things... He comes in and he's totally auto-tuned through the whole thing.
It's like he brings his little T-Pain kit in.
Yeah. There was like apps that come out at the time called the T-Pain app. And you spoke into it and it did full auto-tune on your voice and stuff.
I guess probably the reason why that was popular for him is that he didn't give a shit. He wasn't hiding behind it.
Yeah.
He totally embraced it and just said, I'm just going to run with this.
Yeah.
And as opposed to somebody else that uses the tool to try and mask the inability to sing well.
Yeah.
And then they're the people that get absolutely slammed.
It's so fucking auto-tuned. That's terrible.
Oh, this is yeah. But, yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's cool. But it's picking up something different or something that nobody is daring to do.
Yeah.
Just totally make it their own.
And doing it your thing. But now he's like nobody. It's like, where did T-Pain go?
Oh, I don't even know who it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm I don't pay attention to much these days anyway. Yeah.
But there was a video of him that come out that went a little bit viral a while ago that was like T-Pain sings without the auto-tune. And he's a great singer.
Oh, right.
He sings this real soulful kind of... Actually, I say soulful, but I think the lyrics still were about like bitches and money and stuff. But it was like...
A soulful tone.
A soulful tone. Yeah. And he's got a great voice.
Yeah.
So it's like, he didn't even really need to do that, but...
How funny. And that's even more of a slap in the face. It's like, I can sing.
I just
but I'm just totally
like
going to mess with everybody and just use this auto-tuner that people feel that they have to use. Yeah. I'm just going to take the piss and just run with it. But to be able to use something that already existed, like he didn't invent the auto-tuner, but he's used it and then just totally rebranded it and made it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably got a patent and
yeah, I mean,
he probably makes a shitload of money. Like if there's apps named after it and everything as well.
And I think, like just even doing that consultancy work, like you can just name your price with that stuff. But yeah, that's...
You get him in for a Toehider album, just convince Mike to go, you need T-Pain.
Yeah. Well, Mike did on one of the songs has this auto-tune thing on it, which was just a kind of a diss on pop music. But yeah, my music tastes have gone bonkers over the last few years.
Yeah,
like I used to be just metal.
Yeah.
Metal, and then I was like metal and prog, and then I was just like only prog. And then I like had this big like renaissance of metal again.
Yeah.
When I moved to Melbourne, it was really weird. When I moved to Melbourne, the first maybe 2 or 3 months I got here, all I listened to was Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
And I hadn't listened to Maiden regularly for a long time. I got here and I was just like, I've just got to play Maiden every day. It was awesome. Just like rediscovering all these albums that I hadn't heard for ages. And I think Mike's influence might have been part of that as well.
Yeah.
But
I think stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, I overplayed Maiden so much that I wasn't even taking in the songs anymore. Like I wasn't understanding what I was listening to.
Yeah.
Like I'd hear the Trooper and just go, oh yeah, it's a Trooper. Like I know what it is, but I wasn't actually hearing it anymore. Yeah. And I did the same for like bands like Metallica and all that sort of stuff. But then it might be like 3 years later or longer, and then somebody's playing a song somewhere, or it just pops up in my playlist or something. I go, I'll listen to it. And then suddenly I'm just listening to it and it's totally fresh again.
Yeah.
I go, that's a really cool riff. Or wow, like I can hear that melody or that guitar solo. Oh, Adrian Smith, yeah.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you go, well, why didn't I feel that like the last time I listened to it?
Yeah.
But you just overplay stuff so much, especially when something's really good. You just kick it like a dead horse.
Yeah. I think a couple of Dream Theater albums were like that for me as well. I put them on.
Awake?
No, like Scenes from a Memory.
Oh yeah.
I remember putting that on one day and just going, oh, knowing that like it's a concept album and it's like, fuck, this story's got so much longer to go. I can't sit here and listen to this. So I turned it off and put something else on. But then more recently, I've been putting that on at work and just fucking going,
oh, that's right. Yeah,
it's the year 2000 again. It's so good.
I remember watching that DVD. I think we watched that DVD at your place a few times, along with Mindcrime. And
that's another album I've been listening to at work the last like week.
Yeah,
I've just been fucking cranking that.
I haven't listened to that in ages. I don't think I've listened to any Queensryche in a long time. But that's an album that you can listen to and just go, oh, like suddenly just taken back. Yeah, in a heartbeat. And I'm just trying to think of like, because we used to go to your place quite a bit and just drink beers and
listen to music really
and just
loud.
Like. I was going to say sing, but we're just yelling at the TV. And just as the night went on, just get more and more animated and like air guitaring and just ridiculous stuff. Yeah. But there was, I think we were watching Judas Priest and there's a few other ones, but Dream Theater was there as well. But there was some hazy memories there.
And that was, it frightens me to think of how many years ago that was.
Around 2001, 2, maybe 2.
2 or 3, yeah, because I only moved to Queensland in 2001.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was when you were on the other side of Brisbane. And we're going there for a bit, and then you moved to...
Mighty Redcliffe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there I stayed for ages, 8 years or something.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. I drove past your place not too long ago, a few weeks back. Or maybe
still
a couple
there?
months ago. Yeah, it's still there. Everything else has been torn down.
Right.
Yeah. This is a really interesting conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, let's talk something more engaging.
We're just catching up.
Just reminiscing.
All right. So I'm curious about... I think I've hit you up in the past asking you a question about what advice would you give if someone wanted to learn how to draw? And I'm pretty sure I messaged you ages ago and you may have just given me something.
Right. Did I just make some shit up? I don't remember what I said.
Well, I didn't take it on board, so
right.
It must have been really good. But I think I asked about 4 or 5 different people. But before I get to that, how did you get into drawing? Did you just start just doodling stuff and then eventually it sort of just went from there? Did you have an interest in it?
Pretty much since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Since I could hold a pencil, I've just loved drawing. I used to just sit, because I didn't have any brothers or sisters, so I used to just sit. My dad would bring home like reams of paper. The
old school computer paper?
Yeah, I've got a huge box of it there.
With the peel off on the side?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I found a massive box of it at work, and I'm like, I'm stealing this. Yeah, my dad would bring that home, and I would just sit there and draw all day. And I just remember the first thing getting really good at drawing was Garfield.
Yeah, okay.
I just remember drawing.
That was your go-to?
Yeah, and then I would just draw Garfield all the time, and then I would draw things off of cartoons.
Yep.
On the TV. And yeah, it's just something I've always enjoyed doing since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Never really learned.
Yeah.
Just was able to put the pencil down and things would come.
So were you just like, when you just starting to draw, were you just copying pictures?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I would copy a lot. Then I don't really know when. I don't remember there being a point in my life where I was like, I want to draw all the time.
Yeah.
I just remember always being good at it.
Yeah. And
then sort of in high school, I would draw in all my school books. Yeah. The back covers were just always the darkest of shit.
Teenage angst.
Well, I wasn't even like an angsty teenager. I was a good kid.
Yeah.
Like my dad left when I was 12, so my mum looked after me, but I was like, I didn't do anything bad. I was never a bad kid.
Yeah, okay.
And I think what it is because my mum would basically let me do whatever I wanted, and I never wanted to rebel because I knew that it wouldn't be rebelling.
There's no point.
Yeah. Because, so like, all my friends would smoke weed.
Yeah.
And I never did. I have, but I never did when I was like, when everyone else was.
Yeah.
And like, mum would just be like, my friends would come over to a house and she'd be like, if you're going to smoke weed, just go in the back.
Yeah.
Don't do it in the house. And her kind of attitude was, she would rather it being done in her backyard where she knows everyone.
Every control.
Yeah, she knows we're all there, we're safe, we're not out in the streets doing it. So I never had that like, fuck my life, fuck my parents, I fucking hate everyone. I never had that as a kid. But for some reason, I would just always draw like 7 heads in my school books and stuff. And like, it would come up to Easter time or whatever. So I'd be drawing like 7 Easter bunny heads, and Christmas time would come and it'd be like Santa Claus. And so I've always had this sort of, for some reason, this leaning towards darker looking art.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I had a couple of really cool art teachers.
Yep.
Who were good at sort of nurturing what you liked. I had this one particular art teacher was always like giving me shit because I always drew the same thing.
Yeah.
But then I almost remember a few years later him coming and seeing me doing something that was the same shit that I always did. But I always remember him complimenting on it.
Yeah.
Years later and being like, oh man, I'm so like happy that he come and did that.
Yeah.
Even though he used to give me shit all the time about it, like, he's obviously sort of proud that I've come through him, and
that's it. You stuck to your guns.
Yeah, and I'm doing my thing now. So, yeah, my art went from dark to kind of weird to I like to draw strange things.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Was there ever a point where anybody along the way sort of looked at your stuff and gave you sort of a reality check and said you should be doing more than what you're doing at the moment? Or was it just you just finding opportunities as you...
Doing more as in, why aren't you doing that for a living? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, every single fucking person in my life. Everyone, everyone's like, oh, why don't you do that for a living? Why aren't you a tattoo artist? You'd be awesome at that. Why don't you do that? Do you draw comics? Do you do this? You should work in like movies doing art. You should do this. And it's like, yeah, I know I should do all that shit, but fucking...
But I'm not. So.
But I'm not. Yeah, I'm an office stooge at a fucking company where I work behind a desk doing like computer shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that like the majority of why I don't try and do it full time is partially laziness.
Yeah.
It's partially confidence.
Yeah.
And fear.
Yeah.
And they're all things that like I know I can get past, but like I still come back to the thing with like, yeah, I can draw, but I would never get a job doing that because I don't have any art qualifications. And they need art qualifications. Oh, but you've got a great portfolio. Yeah, but you need studio experience if you don't have qualifications.
Yeah, right.
You can't get studio experience without qualifications. And like, I put myself in this big circle of why I can't do stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes complete sense to me that I'm making all that up.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's fucking just hard to get myself out of that circle.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, I think anything creative as well. I mean, correct me if I'm way off the mark, but to get that spark and to get that momentum going, to get that flow going, it takes a lot because I assume that unless an idea just pops into your head and you suddenly feel inspired, you'd have to force yourself to sit down and just start like physically holding the pen or the pencil or whatever and just drawing until something eventually comes through the hand. And that's it. But to get to that point, you know, what motivation's there is probably not much at all until it starts to come out.
Like this illustration I'm doing now is for a magazine that like people write stories and they publish it and they get artists to do illustrations for it. I've had it for weeks. I've had the story. I hope the editor doesn't end up hearing this, but like they gave me the story weeks ago and they're like, the due date's tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, no worries. I've never handed one in late, but I've never handed one in more than a day before it was due.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was sitting at work sketching this yesterday, just all these little tiny sketches going, oh, fuck, what am I going to do for this bit? You know, half the time they send me a story that's like super long and it's like, I don't want to fucking read the whole story, or I start to read it and it's shit. And I'm like, apologies to artists, you know, any authors who have had me do illustrations for them. But sometimes I just don't enjoy the story and it's like, how am I supposed to pull an idea for this out of this? And a lot of the time, the first paragraph, I'll find something in that and just be like, okay, well, this person follows this woman down the street. And it's like, I found out later that the viewer is a rat.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm like, okay, so he's got to be close to the ground. Yeah, okay, I can do this. I can put this can here and make it look kind of like... And I eventually kind of just...
It looks good now.
Patched it together.
But
and
obviously to get to that point, it's a bit of...
Yeah, this was like mind hell for me. But then this crazy shit for Trollhorgan is just like, yeah, I'm on it. And it just comes to me so easily.
Do you think that now, like with that whole qualification thing and like, you know, you might have a good portfolio, but you need the certificates and the qualifications to be able to do particular work. Do you think that's changing? Do you think the qualifications are as important anymore? Like, especially with the internet and being able to publicize your craft a lot easier than you could in the past?
I think it should be becoming less important. One of the things I always asked musicians when I interviewed them for Ozprog was, with the internet being so much bigger than it was even before it was around, is it easier or harder for bands now to get their name out there? Yeah. And that was one of the questions I used to love asking people, because the old school guys were like, nah, fuck the internet. There's too much shit out there.
Yeah.
Anyone can fucking release a song and it's all shit.
Yeah.
Record labels are the way to go and all this kind of stuff. But then you had like newer guys who were like, if it wasn't for the internet, no one would know who we are.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of artists now who are super famous on the internet. And I don't know what they do for their jobs.
Yeah.
But it's at a point now where you could probably make a living being an internet famous artist.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'd love to be that.
I think
Just do stuff on the internet. That would be awesome.
Why not?
And make money.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that whole fear thing, I'm assuming, is probably more of like, how do you sustain your day-to-day life?
Yeah.
Relying on something that's not guaranteed. It's
Yeah.
that whole freelance lifestyle.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a desk job, it's that reliable income that comes in,
It's
and
hard
it
to-
fuels the things that you like to do on the sides. It takes the pressure off.
But it also takes all your time and
It
kills
does.
your creativity.
Absolutely. I mean, how much harder is it to get into some sort of flow state after you've been sitting in an office all day and you come home and you look at the clock and go, oh, I've actually got to be in bed in a few hours.
Yeah.
And then I've got to be up and then you just totally demotivated.
And the worst thing for me is I usually start to get really motivated at like 11.
Yeah.
And then I look at my clock and I'm like, fuck, it's midnight. I've got to be up at 6. Shit, I'll do a little bit more. Fuck, it's 1. Oh, now I'm going to get hardly any sleep. But I'll get between 11 and 1, I'll get so much work done.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't I just do this slower between 6 and 10?
Yeah.
My brain just doesn't work like that.
You have to... I can't remember the guy's name. There was a writer. I was listening to him on a podcast and he was talking about his process of writing. And, you know, he was a guy that was quite successful and he would write at home and he would wake up at, say, 6 o'clock in the morning and he would not start writing until probably midday.
Right.
And he said basically in those 6 hours, he would do anything possible to stop himself from writing, like procrastinate. So he'd go and like just eat food and sit around, you know, read or watch TV or go outside, just anything to distract himself from reading. And eventually he'll get it all out of his system.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like brain dumping everything. And then suddenly it's like, okay, I can write now.
Yeah.
But he can't wake up at like 11 o'clock to start at 12. He needs that 6 hours of just shit to get to the point where he's ready to go.
Yeah.
So it'd be the same with that. You get home, you need time to sort of just decompress.
Yeah.
Just do whatever, not having to think too much. And then eventually your brain starts to kick back into gear and you're like, okay, now I can start doing things. And then suddenly it's like, oh shit, I gotta get some sleep.
I think, and I'm not 100% sure on this, I just remember Mike telling me once, I think Dr. Seuss used to have this little cottage on his property where he would go and he would just sit there for like 6 hours. He'd just go in there and sit there and write. Didn't matter what he was writing. It would just be gibberish sometimes, but he would just make himself do that.
Yeah.
It's sort of the opposite of that other thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll try and not do anything to think about that, and then it'll blast out of me. Whereas his thing was,
Just
doesn't matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's just the action.
It's just the action of doing it. And then eventually something will come.
And I get that as well. It's sort of, drawing, painting, even like if you're playing music or you're trying to write music or lyrics or anything like that, you just start playing, writing, drawing crap and just let it come out. And eventually something will start to piece together. It's like the one that you're just working on now, just having all these small ideas. And then eventually it's sort of like, oh, okay, this can sort of fit in here. And this is how I can, this is how the vision will come together. But I think with the internet, going back to like the question that you'd ask musos, and especially the old school guys who are like, well, anybody can pick up a guitar now and record at home and get a good sounding thing. And there's so much shit out there. And it's hard to get your head above the noise. I think, and I'm sure it's the same with any sort of creative art and graphic design and graphic artists and whatnot would have this problem as well. There's so many people out there. So how do you sift through it all? But I think the ones that are going to stand out are the ones that use all various types of media. So it'll be the guys that are shit hot at being a graphic artist, but they're known due to having a podcast, or they're known due to having a vlog or other types of media content that will then draw them to their skills.
It's the whole, that's their brand.
Yeah. Branding, personal branding.
Yeah. Well, I had, this is going to make me sound like a complete fucking wanker. Cool. I'm about to name drop. 2 years ago when I was in Amsterdam, I had lunch with Osher Ginsberg.
Oh, yeah.
Because I designed his original podcast logo.
Oh, right.
And Mike did the music for it. Like, Osher Ginsberg, huge Toehider fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, there you go.
So I knew that he spent a lot of time in Amsterdam, and I sent him a message one day and just said, I'm going to Amsterdam in September. what's cool to do. And his advice was just fucking go there and chill out. It's amazing. And that's what I did. It was awesome. But I had lunch with him while I was there. And he was just like, for starters, fucking one of the most intense guys you'll ever talk to. Yeah. We sat down in this vegan cafe and he's like, so how's everything? I'm like, big question. I'm like, yeah, good. Good, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, all right. He goes, oh yeah, so how long are you over in Europe for? I'm like, yeah, a month. He's like, oh yeah, cool. He goes, how's work? I was like, how's work? What do you mean? Like with me being away for a month or in a global sense? Yeah. He's like, yeah, no, just in general, how's work? And I'm like, oh, you know, it's a job. It's not what I want to be doing forever. He's like, what do you want to be doing forever? And I was like, fucking drawing. And at that point, it was like this Tony Robbins moment. He just fucking locked me in.
Man.
And I was like, he goes, why aren't you? I said, I don't know. You know, I'm lazy. I don't know how to promote myself. He goes, mate, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. And I was like, yeah, I know. He goes, nah. He goes,
nah.
And he just had this fucking intensity about him. And I was just like, no, I do have to do it, And he goes, his advice to me was, and it was great, and it worked for a while, but then I let it slip, and I fucking feel like I've let him down. Yeah. Like I feel like I've personally let him down. He goes, take 5 minutes of your day, 10 minutes of your day, and just draw something. Anything, just a little sketch, draw anything. He's like, but make it part of something else you do.
Yeah.
So think of something you do every day, like eat breakfast, eat lunch, you know, whatever you do, something you do every single day, and while you're doing that, draw something, take a photo of it, post it on Instagram every single day. He said there's a theory that, like, after you do something for 6 days, it becomes a habit. Yeah. After you do it for, like, X amount of days, you miss doing it. Yeah. And he goes, tomorrow, he goes, by tomorrow lunchtime, he goes, I want you to have posted a drawing on Instagram, or you owe me 40 euros. And I was like, all right. Yeah, all right, cool. And I did it. Yeah. But like, I left that lunch just feeling so pumped and energized about myself. And while I was in Europe, I was like drawing something every day from then, like when I was catching the train between cities.
And you would have been like really inspired being overseas as well. It's amazing.
And I was in the Netherlands and I was just like catching trains and the landscape is beautiful. So I started drawing all these pictures and I was doing it every single day on the train. I was like, catching the train is my daily thing. This is what I'm going to do it. Yeah. And then I did it for like a little while and then I just fucking stopped. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why didn't it become a habit like it was supposed to?
Where did it stop though? Did it stop when you were back home?
It stopped when I had to travel further than just around. Yeah. So I went from Amsterdam to Ostend in Belgium. Yeah. And I think that journey was a bit disjointed and my routine was thrown out. Yeah. Stopped doing it. Then I was traveling the next day and then I was like, I only had a couple of days left in Europe. So I was doing stuff. And then I just stopped doing it. I'm like, all that like awesome hyped up fucking superpower that I got from this guy. And then I was just like, it's all gone.
It's one of those things where you have to like, there's not one answer. Like you can get that burst of motivation from speaking to somebody, but you need to have those constant things around you all the time. So whether it's the whole concept of surrounding yourself with 5 people, like you're the sum of, or what is it? No, you're the average of the 5 people that you're closest to. Right. So if you hang out with 5 deadbeats, then chances are you're going to be a deadbeat. Right. But if you're hanging around with really motivated people that do a lot, then chances are they'll rub off on you and you'll do that. But
the problem with that is I fucking hate those people. I could never surround myself with 5 completely like super motivated individuals. That would just be so draining.
It'd be one extreme to the other. Yeah, you need the balance.
But that would make me want to not do stuff. Yeah, just to be like, fuck those guys.
Yeah, I know.
As if I'm going to be like that.
Just way too over the top. Just constantly like, let's do this, let's do that. Nah, I don't feel like it. No. Yeah. But I think you need that. You need that constant inspiration all the time that just brings you back in, something just to like give you a bit of a slap every once in a while. And just go, hey, remember? And you're like, oh yeah. Because if you just get it once, it's sort of like, I'm just trying to think of the stupidest analogies, but it's like when you're sick and you take antibiotics and you have like the first few in the packet and then you get better and you're like, oh, I don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
And then you get sick again and you're meant to finish the entire dosage. It's sort of like that. You need to continuously just be giving yourself those things just to keep you going. You can't just rely on that first dosage and then that's it. But it's cool though. Like, I think having that intense conversation and then being in that part of the world as well would have been like this great mix to really sort of get you fired up.
Yeah, and it was awesome. And I still think back to the talk we had and I'm like, I really need to do something. Yeah. But then something distracts me. And I think, you know what else about the internet, which is weird? And I don't know how it works. It confuses me. I'm not intelligent enough to understand it. Is the algorithm of how things get liked or shown to people.
Yeah.
So I've been doing every day at work for the last little while, except for a couple of days. I've been doing like a sketch at lunchtime because I never really have a lunch break.
Yeah.
Because it's so busy. But every day I'll try and just phase out, just like look away from my monitors and I'll just sketch something for a while. And I'll post them on Instagram. And I posted a couple and they get like 20, 30 likes, whatever. Then one day I posted one with the same hashtags as all the rest, and within about 3 minutes, it had like 150 likes.
Oh, right.
I was like, whoa, that's it. I've broken it. This is it. I'm going to get all these likes now. I must have fucking hit something, and all these artists are seeing me now, because they weren't all bots. They were like a lot of like art pages and stuff, which might be auto-liking certain hashtags at times. But I was like, fuck yeah, I've never got that many likes in such a short amount of time. Next day, draw a picture.
You're all psyched.
Yeah. This one's great. Posted it, and like in 5 hours, I got like 3 likes. And I'm like, come on.
Are you posting at like the same time of day as well?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they change it often.
Yeah.
Because I think just to keep people on their toes, and it's probably more for advertisers rather than Joe Blow.
Yeah.
So I know Facebook, the algorithms, I think, change quite often because of businesses. Like, some of these corporate businesses spend so much money on Facebook ads, like tens of thousands of dollars to try and reach people. And I guess if they work out what the sweet spot is, then they'll turn back their revenue or their budget to, they won't invest as much money. So Facebook will just go, we'll just tweak it, we'll change it now. So, instead of 2:53 in the afternoon, we're going to make it 4:11, or something like that. Fuckers. Just plus all these other criteria that you need, like certain amount of text, and whether it's a graphic or whether it's just text on its own, or whether there's external links, internal links, and all this rubbish. And it's really hard to try and work it out. But I see that on Facebook, on Instagram, where it used to be a lot better, where you would see the posts as people would put them up. Yeah. And it was in that order. And so it was easy. So if you didn't go on there for a few hours, you could quickly scroll through and you'd see everything that's been posted in the last few hours. But
you get to one and you'd be like, I've seen that one. That's where I was up to.
Yeah. But now it's like whatever's trending or whatever's hitting that algorithm will come up to the top. And then sometimes I load, and sometimes you have to wait for it to kick in and it reloads. But the top picture's from like 2 days ago. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it should be the most recent thing that's been put up by somebody. Yeah. So then you think, well, when I post a picture, where does it go? Does it sit there? Does it show up straight away? Or, if I've got X amount of people following me, how many people are actually going to see it? Yeah. Probably, well, at the moment, if I'm going just by like, I can see stats of how many people view or see it. And so I've got like, I don't know, most of them are probably bots anyway, but I've got like 20,000. I've got 12,000 on Instagram. Yeah. And I might get 50 to 100 on a post. Yeah. And then of likes. And then the reach on each of those, at the very most, my highest one's probably been about 1,600. Right. Out of 12. Yeah. And it's so annoying because the Facebook's the same thing. For the band, we've got like 26,000 people. Yeah. That have liked the page, and then every time you post, if you're really lucky, you might get 3,000 or 4,000 out of it. The
Toehider page is exactly the same.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating because you think if each of our posts, and I get why, because the traffic's so heavy, you can't afford to everyone to have the same reach all the time because no one would be able to see anything. Yeah. But if we were able to post something and have all 26,000 people see it,
Yeah.
bands would do so much better. I'd actually be able to sell some merch again.
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic. And people would show up to shows, and you have people that like the page, they go, I didn't even hear about it. And it's like, I mean, we've been posting about it for the last 6 months. What are you on about?
Like Mike, if Mike or I post something to the Toehider page, you watch it, and then after like, you know, a couple of hours, it'll say reached 100 people.
Yeah.
Mike will post something on his personal Facebook page. Like, I think one day he just went through and added everyone who liked the Toehider page to his personal page. Yeah. Posted to his personal page, the likes just go nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's so heavily geared against like people who try and set up a page to just get people to advertise.
That's it.
Pay for promoted posts.
That's it. And I do it on the podcast page, where I'll give it a few hours or maybe 24 hours on a post, and it reaches like 100 people or a couple hundred, and then I'll put $1 on it, or at the most I'll put $5.
Yeah.
$5 over 5 days, and it might reach 600-700 people or something like that. And it's probably a waste of money, but you just hope that the numbers that they're showing is actually real, and it actually is reaching that many people, or they're not just going, oh, well, you put $5 on there, so we're just going to write 632 people on there, and that's it. It doesn't actually reach that many people, especially when you get like, it's like 600 people have seen this post, but there's like 15 likes.
Yeah.
And you go, and I target it to people that like the page. So I've got 1,100 people that have liked my page, and if half of them are seeing the post, and majority of them are on my personal account, so they know me.
Yeah.
Is it true that only 15 out of that 600 odd are actually liking the post?
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know. So there's probably something dodgy there. Maybe there'll be an expose on Facebook one day. And
they'll have to refund everyone their money.
Oh, bring it on.
You might get your whole like $50 back.
Oh my golden retriever. But it's hard. I mean, and I think that's a challenge if you want to go into that whole self-branding thing and become this not internet, I was going to say internet celebrity, but this person that's got a reputation on the internet, and you've got your own brand, you can make money and be this sort of self-employed person. It's so hard when your social media platforms restrict so much of your content. Yeah. So that's why people are saying you just need to have like a bunch of different things going. And it's not just saying you need Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That's almost like one form of social media. Yeah. And then you need like YouTube, and then you need podcasting, and then you probably need a blog and something else, and then spread yourself out across them. But I mean, it's a lot of time. And if you're working a job, it's just...
Yeah, you need a full-time job to support your other full-time job, which is actually making you no money.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that whole thing, like, it does a number on your confidence as well. Yeah. Like, I just did 9 Toehider t-shirts in 9 months. Yeah. Right? They did really well. Yeah. Finished them, took them all down, put a t-shirt of my own design up, and I think I've sold 2. It's like, come on, you like the Toehider stuff. Yeah. It's all like, none of those t-shirts had anything to do with music.
That's it.
And you all bought them.
But it was that Toehider brand.
Toehider brand, yeah. That's it. And I'm not trashing the Toehider brand. It's my brand, but like, it's really weird.
It's all psychological, isn't it? So you need to almost create this persona around what you do. Yeah. So then people are connecting with you and identifying with you as the person behind it. Yeah. And on the back end of that, almost as an afterthought, is your art, is your skill. Yeah. You're almost selling yourself, not your art. Yeah. And then the bonus is that people will eventually buy your art because they want to have that connection and want to support you because they've got that genuine connection to you and they know who you are. And I think that's what's separating people at the moment, where not that people are completely just exposing themselves and being vulnerable and telling people their entire lives, but the people that have got a story and an identity, and people go, okay, I actually know who that person is now. Yeah. They're the ones that are doing really well, because people, I mean, especially when we've gone through the years of reality TV and the stuff that at one point we thought was real is not real. It's all BS. People are really sus now. And especially all the Instagram people. So you see those people that are like the entrepreneurs who are like follow me and or contact me if you want to earn money and traveling the world or whatever, and like all their photos are like on a beach or whatever, and like chicks with their tits out, and it's like, this is my life, but they're probably like depressed sacks of shit with no money. But they're trying to put on this amazing life that they live. And I think a lot of people see through it now. And the people that are doing really well are the ones who are just saying, this is me. This is what I do. This is what I'm all about. And people are like, I love that.
This is a fun line there as well, where you want to be like, this is me. I'm with you guys. You guys are like part of all this. But then you also don't, it's like, but fucking stay out of my life. I think that's where I would struggle with that vulnerability is like, I'm a pretty private person. I only have like a small handful of friends. It's like, I don't want fucking every person like being a part of all my shit. I want to be like the famous people like Maynard from Tool, who's like mysterious and no one fucking knows anything about him.
But at the same time, everyone knows something about him. At the same time, like, he is mysterious, but that's part of the story that he's created. And so people identify with him because he is still genuine, because he backs up his stuff, and he is mysterious, but he demonstrates it in so many different ways that people can see that he's not full of shit. He's not just saying things. You can see that he shows up in these places. He does these weird things. He's got these ventures that he's a part of, and these music projects and whatever. And so he's created this genuine identity that's still very private and mysterious, and people love that anyway. It's just it's the no bullshit factor, I think, is probably the key.
I guess he like talks his talk about, this is who I am, and I'm fucking this weird freaky guy, but he's like, but actually I am really good at all the shit that I do. How many people do you know in like any scene who can talk the shit out of something and then they just produce crap? But they're still the people who get like the work and the jobs. It's like, fuck.
It's that gift of the gab, and But I mean, but at the same time, those people don't have longevity either. So if you think about certain people over the years, I'm sure we could both think of quite a few where they popped up and completely taken the attention away from everybody else that's working hard. They become flavour of the month, and everyone loves them. They're all being talked about, and then 6 months or a couple of years later, they're not around anymore. They're not in conversation. So that it's almost like this quick spark, this quick flame that burns everyone, and then just extinguishes. Whereas there are other people that are burning like a steady candle, and they're there for the long term. And so it's almost like that cult underground following that they've never peaked and done really well, but they've always just sustained this really dedicated, like, it's sort of like I'm trying to think of who it is. There's a band. It's almost like no, that's not a good example. But there are bands like, especially like the some of the old sort of punk bands and hardcore bands that are all anti-corporation and whatever, and they don't want to sell out and whatever, and they've just maintained this underground sort of following, but their following are so diehard, absolutely diehard, and will just do anything that band or that artist says, because that band, they're so connected. And so, and the other thing, there's a few things. There's a book, I still haven't read it, but I keep telling everyone to read it. But it's like, hey, read this book, it's amazing. It's called 1,000 True Fans. I can't remember who wrote it, but the concept is interesting, where it's like all you need now is a small number of people, and that's it. You don't have to like market yourself to the masses. You don't have to take ads out in newspapers. You don't have to have TV ads or anything like that. You don't need to be on mainstream radio anymore. You don't need to be in these mainstream publications, because in the past it's your only options to reach people. But when you do that now, you're wasting money, because you're getting a whole bunch of people that aren't interested. Whereas now you can pinpoint your niche, you can find them online, you can find their groups, you can find their little collectives, and you can pitch and market directly to those people. If you've got some weird fetish that you love and you want to make a lot of money out of it, you can find these weird people out there and make a shitload of money. So the whole concept is that if you've got, they use the number 1,000, but even if you had 100 people and you had a list of them, You knew exactly who they were. You had their email address, maybe a phone number, but maybe not.
Yeah.
But an email address and maybe their social media handles. And you could go to them every time you had something to say or something to promote or whatever. And they were part of your inner collective. It's almost like your fan club, unofficial fan club. All you need is them to buy the next thing that you're going to do. And you're done, and they'll also spread the word.
Yeah.
They're diehards. They're passionate. They're the advocates. They're going to tell everyone about it. But you just focus on those 100 people. That's it.
I guess that's like basically the whole concept of Patreon, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You get like, you have like 1,000 people. If you had 1,000 people and you were putting something out every month and getting $5 from them.
Yeah. It's pretty mad.
$5,000 a month. I'd take that. Fucking any day.
Yeah.
I'd take half of that a month.
Yeah.
To just say I did it out of my creativity.
Yeah.
Be amazing.
It's definitely doable. But I think the big thing is that whatever you do, you're not going to get an instant result.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to build it up because people are suspicious. It's sort of like it's like band venues and local hotspots for shows and whatever. People won't make the effort to go out to a place that they're not familiar with. Yeah. But when they know that there's a regular show that happens at this place every Friday night or every second Friday or whatever it is, and they know that other people are going to it, then they start to go, well, I don't want to miss out. I'll go to that. Yeah. And they start to see it's more reliable. It's there. And it's the same for anybody that's trying to promote anything that they do. They've got to have consistency. They've got to be there constantly and showing people. It's like this podcast. Getting close to 2 years of doing it, and initially I just thought, oh well, this is sweet, like I'll just get all the Lord fans, they'll listen to it. No one gave a fuck. No one listens to the podcast.
Like, Andy's not talking about metal.
Yeah, this is shit.
Who's this Tony Barber guy?
And it's taken 2 years, and even now it's not massive, but it's like in the last 4 months it's been doubling per month in total views.
Right.
So it's trending upwards and it's doing really well. And I think it's not so much the people that have on as part of it, because I think their circles are getting exposed to it. But the other thing is it's just consistent. Like a couple of people have said to me, I know when to expect the next episode. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
It's Thursday and I can rely on it. And I know that like on my Friday morning commute, I know what I'm listening to. Or late Thursday night, I know what I'm listening to. Yeah. And so for me, it's like, I can't miss that. Yeah. I can't miss it. Yeah. So even like tonight, it's a Thursday night, I was stressing because I'm like, how do I do it? How do I do it? So I had to put the podcast up last night. Yeah. And I just did it a day early. But I just knew that I didn't want to, if anything, if I do it early, that's okay. But I didn't want to
do it late.
Delay, make it late, because then I'm going to lose that momentum. And some people are they'll just switch off. Yeah. They'll switch off.
So I do a podcast with two guys that I know, Cam and Robert. I don't know if you've ever listened to it.
No.
It's called the Hypothetical Institute.
I didn't even know you did a podcast until you messaged me before. I'm like, right. You got a podcast?
Yeah, so we've done 21 episodes now. It's called the Hypothetical Institute. And it's a podcast about conspiracies.
Yeah, nice.
So we don't just like talk about conspiracies. We kind of talk about how cooked they are.
Yeah, okay.
And just kind of delve into them, not in any sort of depth. When we started talking about doing it, what triggered it was you remember when that fucking nutcase was doing donuts outside Flinders Street Station here in Melbourne, and then he went and crashed his car through all the people in Burke Street? Yeah. Like the day or 2 days after that, there were these guys on the internet saying it never happened. Going, fucking, it was all a hoax. It was all a fucking false flag psyop by the government to try and fucking do something. Yeah. And the amount of people commenting on those videos going, yeah, the fucking always happens. And we were just like, oh my God. We were like, how fucking mental are these people? Yeah. So we were like, we should do a podcast where we just look at all these like fucking cooked units. Yeah. And just like talk about all these whack conspiracies, but like even ones that everyone knows about, like, 9/11 or, people say 9/11 was an inside job or it didn't happen, or the moon landing never happened, all that kind of stuff. If you go deep enough down that rabbit hole on the internet, there's some people that think some fucking insane stuff about those things. And now it's almost become a challenge each episode where we'll be like, okay, so the episode that's just gone up is about crop circles and ley lines.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, everyone used to think crop circles were like alien ship landing pads and stuff. And I looked into it, and like, then I found this theory that this guy had, which was that, and I was just like, yeah, this is amazing. This guy's theory was that crop circles were like bookmarks in time by time travelers. Oh, okay. Like humans traveling back through time would leave a crop circle somewhere they wanted to remember, so that they, like, when they're like traveling through time through the years,
they can see that
there's
place
that pattern
marker or whatever.
Yeah, like putting a post-it note in a book.
Yeah.
And going, oh, that's that bit I wanted to remember.
So had he deciphered what the symbols meant? Or
no,
anything like that?
It was just something he'd come up with. That's probably just it's time travelers. So like we had this massive like talk about time travel on the podcast, and it always devolves into like some hilarious thing about how the Queen's a lizard.
Yeah,
and shit like that. There's all these people who just think. You know, for every conspiracy that's out there, there's someone who thinks it's got to do with reptilians who rule the world. Yeah. There's someone who thinks it's to do with the Illuminati or the Freemasons. And fuck, there's some really cooked units.
That's the amazing thing about the internet, is that anybody can access it now.
Yeah.
Like remember when the internet first came out, it was just so expensive. Like only some computers you had to go to a library, and even then you had to pay money, and it was just, everything was difficult about the internet.
Yeah.
And now, like, anyone can get on there. Anyone can like make an opinion. Anyone can create a ridiculous YouTube video.
Yeah.
Have you done an episode on Flat Earth yet?
Yeah, I think one of our first ones was about Flat Earth. And we always refer back to it because there's always someone that ties something to Flat Earth as well.
That's a crazy one.
There's like Flat Earth, Hollow Earth. They sometimes tie in together.
Is Hollow Earth where they think there's people that live in the middle of the...
Underground? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like one of the cookedest of the Hollow Earth theories is that like the Earth's flat, right? So the flat earthers think the Earth is flat. The North Pole is in the middle, and the South Pole is actually an ice wall that goes around the outside of the ring that you can't get past.
Right.
That's why when you go south, no matter which way you go south, you hit ice.
Okay.
Because it's a wall. It's not a continent, right?
Makes sense.
So the Hollow Earth theories go as far as there's like a master race that lives underneath the Earth, and that's where all the Nazis went.
Oh, okay.
So at the end of World War II, all these Nazis rocked up in Argentina in a submarine and like offloaded themselves there, and you go from Argentina down to the South Pole.
Okay.
And that's where the Nazis have like their UFO base under Antarctica, which is where all the like master race live.
Right.
With the Nazis.
Do they mess with the upper world at all?
No, I think well, who knows? If they're fucking an army of Nazis down there with UFOs, how come they haven't come up and taken over the world?
What's going on? Yeah.
I don't know. They're biding their time, I guess.
Yeah.
But the flat earthers are also usually... There's this one flat earther... Is it Russian Vids? Is his YouTube handle?
Okay.
Oh, go check out some Russian Vids videos.
I'll put one in the show notes for this episode.
Let me find one. I'll find a great one and send you a link.
Cool.
But he's also hyper religious. So the idea is that the Earth is flat and there's a dome over us, and the dome is like God's firmament.
Oh.
And you can't go outside of the dome because that's God's created the dome.
What's outside the dome though?
God.
Just God.
Heaven. Okay. Whatever. And underneath the hollow of the earth is hell.
Okay.
But the sun and the moon aren't actually balls in the sky. They're just discs that float around in the top of the dome.
Oh.
And they're all like...
Has this guy been in a plane before?
Well, no, because whenever you see photos in planes, it's just... And you see a bit of a curve, it's because of the lens of the camera. It's not... When you actually look through your eyeballs, it's flat. And... Oh, man, you got to get into this stuff. But, so they're also of the belief that there's like, oh, fuck. The more I think about it, the more it ties into all these other things. So there's the flat earthers. Then there's the ones who think all of the elite people in the world are what's called Nephilim.
Okay. Which
were like, when God cast, like there was a whole bunch of angels that wanted to go down to earth and bang the humans, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And God's like, you can't do that. Casting you out. So they fell to earth and were like, well, we're here now. We're just going to bang all the humans.
Yeah.
And the fallen angels and the humans created giants,
right,
which were like the Nephilim.
Yeah.
And that's why eventually God flooded the earth, because he had to get rid of all the shit. It's like, this is fucked. Yeah. But apparently all the elite people in the world, like fucking Donald Trump, every celebrity, are all descendants of these Nephilims.
Right.
But they're also all transvestites. Every male celebrity is actually a woman. Every woman celebrity actually a man. And they do that so they can't breed with the normies.
Right. So they only breed amongst each other.
Yeah. They can't...
That's why celebrity couples,
they
don't just hook up with a...
Barack Obama and Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Barack's actually a woman. Right. Michelle's a man.
Wow.
Done the switcheroo.
Makes sense.
Yeah. This is my world every week when we do this podcast. Introduce me to the world of transvestigations.
Wow. Which
is a YouTube video style.
Yeah.
Where someone will put a video... I'll send you a link to a transvestigation as well. This person, there's this one woman, I can't think of her name right now, but she's this really Christian woman who'll put up a video, and it will just be her looking at photos on Google Images of like someone, like Donald Trump, say.
Yeah.
And she'll just be like, would you look at his chin? That's a woman's chin. Look at his hips. He's got a woman's hips. Or if it's a woman, she'll be like, look how narrow her hips are.
And that's all the videos.
And that's all the video is. It's just pointing out bodily features and how, like, the other gender they actually are. It's like, how the fuck do these people survive in the world? How do they have a day-to-day life?
Do they seem a little bit... Like, even though they're saying silly stuff, do they seem like they're not all there?
No.
They just seem
like normal people. That's what's scary.
People.
They just seem like normal people talking about the weirdest of stuff.
I've always had this fantasy where I'd be like either in a workplace or better still at some sort of social gathering where I don't really know everybody. So it might be like, I don't know, friends of Jess's or whatever, and I'm just tagging along.
Yep.
And the conversation's going, and then one of those people are there.
Right.
And I would just, I've thought about this quite a bit where I would just love to sit back and just not say a word and just let them go.
Yeah.
And then just eventually just to say, you're a fucking idiot. Like, what the fuck are you saying? But it's fascinating because you walk past so many people on a day-to-day basis and you think, which ones are the ones that are just, like, what do these people do behind closed doors?
Yeah.
So I always used to say, like, I wonder how many people I walk past today that have killed somebody.
Yeah.
I always used to say that.
Right.
But how many of these people believe in like the most ridiculous shit?
Yeah.
It'd be probably pretty scary if we knew.
Yeah.
There was like a little flag above people's heads.
So the main guy who denies the Burke Street car incident is a Melbourne guy.
Yeah.
Who, like, his YouTube channel's been shut down. So after the actual thing happened, he called the hospital where this little girl who had been hit by the car was in the hospital, and he's like, I'd like to speak to such and such. And they're like, yeah, no, she's like in intensive care. And he went on and on saying, I'm a friend of the family. I want to check that she's okay. And the nurse is like, yeah, well, look, we've got a list of people who are allowed to call. Yep. We can't actually let anyone. And then he just starts going, yeah, that's because she's not even there. She wasn't even injured. No car ever went down Burke Street. When's fucking the mayor going to admit it? And he got like, the police ended up rocking up at his place going, you can't do that anymore.
Wow.
You have to take these fucking cooked videos down off the internet because... and don't make any more. But then like slowly he was like realizing that after that, no one gave a shit. So he started making them again. And there's videos of him just walking around Burke Street, just bailing people up going, oh, were you in town when that car supposedly came down Burke Street?
Oh.
And his main argument is there's no CCTV, with no one seen any CCTV footage of the car going down Burke Street.
But why would we have it? Why would they put it anywhere?
It's video of people getting fucking killed by a car.
Yeah, why would you have it on the TV?
The police have it. The guy's in jail and they're investigating him for multiple murders. Why would they just be like, oh, here it is. Here you go, mate. So there's some video of the car going down Swanson Street where it doesn't hit anyone. and then it turns off, and that's all they've released.
Yeah.
But he can't understand why they're not releasing the video.
He'll hold on to that till he's probably been waiting his whole life for an event to occur that he can just totally own.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably had other things before.
Yeah, like the Boston bombing. He's got a whole YouTube channel dedicated to how that's fake. Sandy Hook massacre, all over that. That's fake. Everything is fake except... there was one guy who was like, all of these, every shooting and every mass shooting is fake. It's all like a Zionist conspiracy. Except that one shooting that was done by that Zionist guy. It's like you just like...
Pick and choose.
Yeah, you just put your agenda right out there. You're like a massive anti-Semite.
Oh my God. And with the internet now, like anyone can have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
There's no vetting. There's no like you need to pass an intelligence test to log onto a computer and use the internet or anything like that. And so these people have always existed.
Yeah.
They were just the people that were on the corner holding a cardboard sign and just screaming at people, and everyone go, well, that guy's a bit crazy.
Yeah.
But now these people have got a computer and they're making these videos. And the problem is that a lot of them are crazy. Like you watch it and you laugh and you just go, this is ridiculous. But some of them are so in depth and they put in such a not compelling argument as far as factually, but the way that they do it, very charismatic, very calm, very sensible with their approach. And for people that just don't have the worldly sort of intelligence, will get sucked into that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And that's how those communities build. Like the flat earth community is massive.
Yeah.
Because there's a number of videos on YouTube that just... these guys are masterminds when they put together these arguments, because they've just put in this theatrics where they've just got such a compelling, charismatic argument and go into so much depth. And that's probably the other thing. They spend so much time going to just the tiniest bits of detail that people just go, well, fuck, it must be true then.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to do their own research and go, well, I call bullshit on that. I'll do my own research. People just go, oh, okay.
But the thing is, you can show them as much proof as you want.
Yeah.
And they won't. The car thing at Westminster in the UK, where a car raced across that bridge and hit a bunch of people.
Yeah.
As soon as that happened, all these guys come out and said, you'll never see a single bit of CCTV of that happening because it didn't happen.
But then they put it up.
Then they put this shot from a tower a while away, and you can see the car coming down. Then you can see the woman falling in the water.
It was docked footage or something?
Yeah. I found a video of this British guy who's just going, all right, here's that footage. Look at that. Fucking CGI. Oh, what the fuck are these cunts doing? And it's like, come on, dude. Like, your whole argument is on the basis that you'll never see it, and then they show it to you, and you don't believe it.
He could be standing on the bridge, and the truck goes past him, and he goes, fucking David Copperfield.
Yeah.
Magicians are here.
Yeah, and I've seen him make the Empire State Building disappear. It's like, fuck. It's like, this is where this podcast, like, the Hypothetical Institute is like a double-edged sword, because it's so much fun watching these videos and laughing at the stuff, but you get to a point where it gets so saturated that you just go, I can't fucking listen to these idiots anymore. And you start getting angry at them. Like the guy from Melbourne, we almost had a little vendetta against him at the end of like 10 episodes, because every episode would be like, what's fucking PK been up to? And we'd talk about all the stupid shit that he'd done on the internet. What a fucking idiot. But we'd also, like, he was obviously someone who, he must have some sort of mental health issues when you watch his videos. But it's like, we got to a point where it's like, we care too much about what this guy's saying. Yeah. We're almost validating him being a thing where we need to not. Yeah. We need to stop that.
You're putting the spotlight on him in a way.
Yeah. And while it's funny to like flash the spotlight at them and go, oh, look at this fucking guy. Weird guy. When it becomes a thing where it's like all the time, we were just like, we have to stop watching this guy's videos because it's just the worst.
You might just have to drop like just the PK bomb in every once in a while. Just as like a backhand comment where only the people who've been listening since day dot will understand that. But anybody who just tunes in then will be like, I don't get that person. Whatever it is. But so 21 episodes.
21 episodes, yeah.
And do you do them each week?
Yeah. So we record on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yep.
Luke puts it out on a Wednesday.
Okay.
I think he puts it up on the Wednesday, but Thursday is the day that we consider
Share
it
it
out.
and post it around. Yeah.
And it's been good. So I think the older episodes have reached a few hundred views now, and each, I guess it's a testament to people actually subscribing. When it goes up, the number instantly jumps to like 80 something. It's like, sweet, 80 something people have downloaded it, and we're getting people now that like you said, like they're waiting for it. Yeah. And they always comment and say, this is great. And that's a great boost.
That's what you want. Have you got the itch now for podcasting? It shows me the podcast mic.
Yeah, I bought this ages ago to do something with, and I've never done anything. Yeah. But I want to do something. I'm one of those people that I come up with ideas for stuff, and then by the time I start to want to flesh an idea out, I come up with another idea. Yeah. Hypothetical Institute was a podcast that I had thought of years ago. Yeah. Where the idea would be just talking about fucking random stories, like making shit up. Yeah. Imagine if this happened. Imagine if, this happened. And we recorded a few pilot episodes that I just kind of listened back to on my own with a couple of people from Brisbane. And it was cool, but it was the kind of thing where I wanted to try and get different people in every week. And it was like, that's going to be way too hard to do every week. So I just kind of abandoned it. But then when Cam and Luke were like, should we do this podcast? We all live like within 5 minutes of each other around here. So yeah, it's easy. Like I just rock around to Luke's after work on a Monday or a Tuesday. We sit around, talk for an hour. He goes and edits it because he's living that freelance life. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And do they go for an hour? Or
about an hour, yeah.
About an hour? Yeah.
Yeah, we do 2 topics each week. Yeah. With a break in the middle.
Yeah, that's cool. Because doing this podcast, and I've had to really let it bed in, and it's only now just starting to see the beginnings of it bedding in, and probably over the next year, if I can keep it up. That's the hard thing. It's just keeping up the weekly thing. So when I I'm coming down to Melbourne for something else, and I'm like, Thursday night I can get a podcast in. So here we are. And then tomorrow, before I fly back, I've got somebody else, so I've penciled them in. And then that weekend that we were meant to meet up, and it just wasn't going to happen. Yeah. But just trying to smash out as many podcasts over the weekend, because I know that if I get 4 or 5 or 6 podcasts, that's 4 or 5 weeks of episodes that I don't have to worry about anymore. So in theory, I could record 52 episodes and
the schedule release them.
Yeah, that's right. And I thought about it, but I probably wouldn't do that many in one hit, because some of them might get a bit dated. Yeah. As well. But the other thing that I've been thinking about is other ideas for other podcasts as well. Yeah. And so there's a lot of, because I listen to a lot of business ones, and a lot of the business ones are really like bite-sized episodes. They're like 10-minute, 15-minute sort of episodes. Yeah. And they do really well. Like they get massive subscribe rates and lots of downloads. And it's probably because of the size. Like people can listen to them really quickly. Yeah. In between doing things. So I thought it's very similar to what you're saying, like story sort of things. Yeah. If you could do like a 5 to 10 minute story. Yeah. That came out like once a week or whatever, but you sat down over a weekend and just penciled them all out. Yeah. And just smashed them out over a couple of weeks, and then you've got a year's worth or 2 years worth, and then just schedule them out. Yeah. And especially if they're yourself and you're creating the story, you don't have to rely on other people. Could be really good.
Yeah, some guys that I knew in Brisbane were always going to do like an old school radio program type thing for a podcast, where they were going to plot out a story and do it in little chunks like that. I'll say on my whole, I have an idea and then I do nothing with it. A couple of years ago, I had an idea for a podcast that was like, for some reason at the time, I was getting really fucking obsessed with pop music. Okay. I think because I was driving in my car to work and I'd listen to FM radio a lot. Yeah. I still do now. But at the time, there's a song by Pitbull that come out. And I was like, when it first come out, I was like, fuck, I hate this song. Because in the first 2 lines of the song, he rhymes like a word with itself.
Oh, the same word.
Yeah. So he says Kodak in like 2 lines as the rhyme for itself. And I'm just like, oh, this is fucking so annoying. I hate this song. 2 weeks later, I know every word in the song, and I'm like, this song is amazing. Oh my God. So I had this idea for like a podcast, short one, 5-10 minutes, with like whatever song is super popular at the time, sitting down with someone who knows music and like picking apart the lyrics, picking apart what they're doing musically and going, this is why this song is super fucking popular.
Yeah.
Never did it. And now one of like the biggest grossing Patreon podcasts is like that.
Literally that.
He's literally that. And I was just like, fuck those guys.
There you go. There's a lesson there. You just need to act on it.
You got to do it.
Act on it. But I think some of the other podcasts that do really well is having the co-host thing. So with your podcast having three guys,
people,
that's really good because you can get good banter back and forth.
Yeah.
But there's some people that have like just a co-host thing, and you've got polar opposite personalities. So you've got somebody who's quite lively and the other guy's a bit more deadpan.
Yeah.
And it blends in. It's like breakfast radio or any of that sort of stuff, where you've got these personality clashes, but somehow they gel together and it makes a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And I think if you can find somebody that, I mean, it depends on what you want to talk about, of course. I mean, that's half the battle. But if you can find somebody that you can bounce that concept off on a mic, it could be really good as well. But it's easier and easier to record now. It's just, I think the only hurdle with podcasting now is it's still a bit of a complicated process with hosting and uploading and having it on pages and whatnot. And I think that'll get easier. But there's some people that I know that have just got podcasts that are just on YouTube as audio files and that's it, which is probably not the best thing for podcasting. Yeah. But it's another option, and there's other ways that people can do it. Yeah.
So where do you host yours?
I can't pronounce the name. Blubbery. Right. Blueberry, something like that. Yeah. I think I get overcharged on that. I spend quite a bit on hosting for that, but I've never had any issues with it. But I know a lot of other people use Omni, which is an Australian company, and there's Libsyn, and
we use Podbean.
No, I haven't heard of Podbean.
Yeah.
I might have heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, so we're on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes.
Yep.
Something else, I don't know. Robbo takes care of all that.
Yeah, so with the host, you host to one platform, and then, well, for me, I don't know how this works. I had someone set up for me as well. So it's like the MP3 link from the host is embedded in my WordPress site. Yeah. But then that's synced up to iTunes. Yeah. But then iTunes is synced up to all the other podcast platforms out there as well. Right. So there's a number of other podcatchers that you can just find all the same stuff off iTunes. It's just listening through a different device. Yeah. And then things like Google Play and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I don't know if mine's on there, but it will sort of go out in those other areas. But it's interesting. Like I went to the Australian Podcast Awards a few months ago, and it was very interesting to see who's there and who's doing it and the types of topics that people are doing. It's still dominated by the ABC and SBS. Right. But it's changing. Like it's interesting to see the type of people that are interested in doing it. And like in the United States, podcasts are just huge, like massive. And we're slow like anything, like everything. We're always behind the 8 ball. But I think over the next few years, more and more people are going to pick up microphones and do their own podcasts. And I think if people are doing them now, we'll all have a bigger advantage when it kicks in and becomes flavour of the month, because these podcasts that are around now are almost like the
pioneers.
Yeah, and sort of have the legitimacy of being around for a long period of time, and people will gravitate towards the ones that have got that longevity, even though they probably just didn't know what the word podcast meant 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So it's good to get on the bandwagon now.
Yeah. We always joke about, like, when's our podcast going to be sponsored by stamps.com or, like, squarespace.com. So, just because every American podcast you listen to is like, this is brought to you by stamps.com.
Stamps.com, LegalZoom, Blue Apron, what else is there? There's a whole heap.
There's, like, a menswear one that sends you the clothes and you can send them back.
Then it's almost like all those guys all use the same host because the hosts give you... affiliate options. So once your host can see your stats. So once your stats get up to a certain amount per day or per week or whatever, then they give you offers and they say, here's a sponsor.
Yeah, right.
And if you put that in your show, then we will monetize your podcast.
Right.
So I think a lot of those guys in the US are using a similar podcast host because it would be the same companies that are coming through.
Yeah.
They just pick and choose what they want. And it'd probably be, I mean, for some of those guys that get, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions per episode, it'd be interesting to see what the royalties are from those sponsorships.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Money to be made.
Yeah, we just need some Australian businesses to start sponsoring podcasts.
The Captain Cook Tavern in Pickering. I don't know if it's still there. I think it is, actually.
It must be. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be exactly the same.
Yeah. So we used to go there quite a bit and see... Richard and Glenn.
Yep.
A few occasions.
Doing pub covers.
Yep.
Watching nobody watch the music because the footy's on the TV behind them.
That's right. Well, there's only 4 people in the pub anyway. Go there, or the Ambassador. Used to go there a couple of times down on Sutton's and watch the guys do Wasted Years or something like that.
Yeah. No one's here, let's play what we want.
Yeah.
Wait till the drunk guy comes in, is like, play Brown Eye Girl.
It's like, oh shit, no more metal.
God.
Well, I don't know. Oh fuck, we've been talking for ages.
Really?
Yeah, hour 20. All right,
cool.
Let's wrap this up. So I'm going to do my outro now.
Cool. There was nothing else I said I wanted to talk about, was there? Talked about Toehider stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of Toehider. Yeah, well, quickly. Yeah, sorry, guys. Everyone's been waiting an hour and a half to find out about Toehider. We've just been talking shit. How did you hook up with Mike? Because you mentioned, like, sort of some of the art background, but how did you hook up with him and get the whole Toehider thing started?
So when Brad and myself ran ozprog.com, which is still around, I'm pretty happy that it's still a thing. It's not as it's not as popular as it once was, but it's still a thing.
Wow. Has it still got chat box?
No, well the forums aren't there. It's just a website now.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So when we were running that, we had a few local prog bands that we helped out. One of them was Template, which was Mike's old band. And I always remember when their second album come out, I sent him a message and I was like, hey man, fucking if you need any artwork for this new album, let me know, because I'd be keen to sort of do it because I like the music and stuff. And I think he had just gotten some other artists in the US to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh man, sorry, I've paid someone already to do it. And I was like, that's cool, whatever, keep me in mind for next time. But we got to be friends. We started talking a lot, and then I think I brought Template to Brisbane for a show, and we caught up there, and then we just started talking, and then Mike one day was like, oh, Template's kind of done. The guy's moving away or whatever, but I've got this thing I'm writing. Do you want to have a listen to it? And it was just the start of a song. And he sent it to me and it was so different. It was like so much different to the Template stuff. And I was like, fuck, that's cool.
Yeah.
And he goes, I think I'm going to call the song Toehider. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he told me the story about it. I don't know if he told the story on your podcast. So. I don't know. But he told me this story about something his daughter told him, which was about this creepy thing she saw out her window one night called the Toehider. Okay. It was like this creature and stuff. And it was like this fucking weird story. I'm like, was there someone creepy outside her window for legit? Or was she just like the imagination of a child, you know? And that's kind of what the song is about. This child who has this imaginary creature that she sees and stuff. So he told me the story of the song after he had written a riff. He had written no lyrics or anything like that. And I was like, it made me think of a picture. So I started drawing a picture and I sent him it. And he goes, oh, fuck, that's really cool. Oh, that's given me an idea for something in the song. So he went off and wrote some more, sent it back to me. And I was like, yeah, cool. And I drew a little bit more, sent it back to him. And we kind of bounced art and music off each other. And in the end, he finished this song, and I did this artwork of the guy with a tow head sitting on a mushroom, like fishing.
Yeah.
And it was just this bizarre picture and this wacky song. And people loved it.
Yeah.
And we were like, fuck, that was a really great creative process with like, you know, bouncing ideas off each other. Let's work together. Let's do something. Yeah. So we kicked off and did like that first EP. We did that first EP, and then we did, I think, a cartoon theme song cover album. And then we were like, let's just go. So we did like 12 EPs in 12 months. Yeah. Pushed ourselves to the limits. Like, you know, again, I did most of them the night before on the 11th.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of that, we were like, all right, this is a thing now. We've kind of cracked this code of how we work really well together. And it's just gone from there. And like, I like what he does musically. He likes what I do visually. Yeah. And it's just sort of hasn't stopped.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's heaps of fun. And the music's like, the music basically defines not taking itself seriously. Yeah. Where he's like a serious musician and he's fucking amazing at what he does. But like, you listen to some of the songs and they're hilarious. Or they're just dumb. Or like, you know, when we did the Toehider album, I came to Melbourne for a week to finish it. So I come and did artwork at his house. We locked ourselves in his house, basically worked for 5 days. And we were sitting around his house just going, oh, what can this song be about? We're like, oh, fuck, I don't know. And then we were like, what would Iron Maiden do? Just look in an encyclopedia or something for something to write about. Like, you know, all that, like Alexander the Great, basically the lyrics read like an encyclopedia entry. So Mike looked up, it's basically one of the same things that the conspiracy people talk about, the Nephilim, like the giants who walked with men. Yeah. So that song, The Giants Who Walk with Men, if you read the lyrics, it basically reads like a Wikipedia article. Oh, really? Because it's just like, Mike just found an entry online about this thing and went through and did Iron Maiden style, just like wrote facts.
Wow.
Or not facts, because it's like, it's biblical. But yeah, and it turned out being really good.
Wow.
So yeah, we try and do stuff differently all the time. The band played the first show with a new lineup the other night. Fucking sounded great. Yeah. But yeah, so that's we've got a few things happening. When do you reckon this will come out?
Next week.
Okay, no. Too early.
Too
early. I can't jump the gun.
Nah, that's all right.
But we're working on a few things. Yeah. We're putting together a music video.
Yeah, cool.
And some other stuff.
It's cool. Keep busy.
Yeah. And that's been doing good. And Mike's got some really awesome exposure over in Europe with doing the Arion stuff, which is cool.
Definitely helps.
And that was crazy for me 2 years ago, going to Europe. Because, so Mike got involved with Arion and performed on that album. Yeah. And then Toehider got this really big boost overseas. And then when I went to Rotterdam to see Mike in the Theatre Equation show, I was standing around in the foyer and people were coming up to me going, oh man, are you Salty from Toehider? And I was like, yeah, I am. He's like, oh man, I love your artwork and stuff. And I was like, oh, thanks. And I was like, oh man, I'm like a Z-list celebrity here. But then a bunch of people started coming up to me going, oh man, are you like Salty? Does the drawings? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh man, look at my Toehider t-shirt.
That's cool.
I'm like, yeah.
That's awesome.
And like one kid even come up to me and he's like, he kind of nervously tapped me. He goes, are you Andrew Saltmash, the illustrator? I'm like, oh yeah, man. Nice to meet you. He goes, oh, I love your artwork and stuff. Can I get a photo with you and stuff? I So yeah, took a photo. And then like later on, when I was back at the hotel or whatever, I looked on Facebook and he's like put this post up and it was like, oh my God, today I got to meet like one of my biggest art influences, Andrew Saltmash, at like this show today.
Nice.
And I just sat there going, oh my God. As if I thought I would ever be that to someone. And it was this huge, like, warming feeling. I was like, fuck, that's cool.
There you go. Well, there's people out there.
Yeah.
Yep, that's cool. I think definitely need to do more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going back to Europe in 2 weeks.
Yeah?
In 2 months. Fuck.
Oh.
In 2 months, I'm going back for more Arion shows.
Yep.
So
that's cool.
Come at me, bros.
Cut that. No, staying. On that note, and actually, I'll leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
I think you and Mike should do a podcast, a Toehider podcast.
We've been thinking about it. Okay, this is one more thing.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't know I'm going to talk about this, but it's something I've been thinking about for ages. Anytime I go to Mike's house, we come up with so many stupid ideas. I actually want to do a podcast, like, because we want to help our productivity. We want to catch up once a week.
Yep.
To just plan stuff. What I want to do is I want to spend 5 to 10 minutes every week recording a little podcast where we just say all the stupid ideas we've had for that week, putting it out there so that people might go, oh, fuck, that would be amazing.
And they actually act on it.
And feedback on it. And then we might actually get some ideas on which one of those crazy ideas
is worth
pursuing. Because for us, a lot of the time we go, we could do this. Oh, that'd be amazing. But then it's like, it's completely not realistic.
Yeah.
But, you know, we had this idea of doing a co-gig with Troldhagen.
Yeah.
Set up in a boxing ring with like one band in one corner and one band in the other corner. And me as like an announcer. And then like having all the crowd around the ring.
And just trade off.
And just like trading off songs. And it's like, how's the logistics of that? How would you ever make that happen, like, on a local band budget?
Well, that's it. But, you know, it might not be as unrealistic as what you'd probably initially think when you think of how grand the concept is.
Yeah.
If you broke it down, it'd probably be a lot... Because you could get people on board, you could get favours, especially as a one-off.
Yeah.
Could be...
Never know.
It could be a good idea.
Yeah.
One day I'll see it advertised, I'll be like... Salty.
But yeah, Toehider podcast coming soon.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. All right. Thanks, guys. This is my outro. I'm recording it while Salty's still standing or sitting in front of me. What should I say?
What do you usually say?
I don't know.
You should all go on iTunes.
Yeah.
Give Andy a rating.
Yeah.
Give him a little review.
Oh, yeah.
Or a big one.
Yeah.
Write something nice about the podcast because it's cool.
I like that.
A share. Share everything he posts on Facebook.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure people sharing your shit fucks the algorithm as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Give him a share. Give him a like.
Yep. Let's fight Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. That's enough. All right. See you guys next week.
You're ready. You're ready. So sure.